This section is called Importing the Data Repository into the STF and Generating Trends. Alright, the first thing we're going to do for this tutorial is to open a short-term forecaster model, and I've just done that, and it will immediately take us to the Welcome tab. So what we need to do is go one tab over to the Control tab. And on this tab, on the top left, we see 4 buttons: Save Results, Fetch Data, Generate Trends, and Run Monte Carlo. So we're going to be working with the top 3 buttons, 0, 1, and 2. So we can see that the trends were last generated in October, and the data was fetched immediately before that, and the results were saved right at that same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to fetch new data, generate trends, but before we do that, we're going to save our current results. So that's the first thing I'd like to do, is to push the button labeled 0. So we're going to do that. Okay, now what you can see is next to that, where it has the statement last saved, it now has today's date and time. So these are timestamps that are throughout the model that can alert you to when this step has last been taken, so that you can know if it's up to date or if it needs to be updated. But first I want to go over to the History plus Trend Base Market tab, and we're going to scroll down and see that for our ex-factory cartons per month and our prescriptions per month, the last data we have here is for July 2018. So now what we're going to do is go back to the Control tab, and we're going to press button number 1, Fetch Data from Repository. And what that's going to do is open up an Excel dialog box. And so we're going to go and find where we have our data repositories stored. And then I can double click it or select it and then press the open button. And what it's going to do is automatically read in all the data from the data repository into the short-term forecaster model, and it'll put it all in the right places. Okay, so now we've done that, and if you look on the Control tab next to the button labeled number 1, the time and date stamp should have changed to match today's date and time. Now I'm going to go back over to the History plus Trend Base Market tab and look at steps 1 and 3, the yellow sections. And what we notice is before we just had data up through August 2018, and now we have data through September 2018. So we have new data, so now we can generate new trends. So back on the Control tab, if we press button labeled number 2, Generate Trends, what this will do is create a trend for every element in the short-term forecaster model for which we need trends. Okay, now that that's completed, you'll notice that the time and date stamp next to that button has been updated also. Now what I'm going to do is skip over to the right a number of tabs to the second green chart tab, and it's called Company Total Raw Trend Chart. And so on this tab, on this graph, we have on the horizontal axis time in terms of months, and then on the vertical axis we have total prescriptions, total TRX per day. And what you'll see is on the left hand side we have historical data, which has a little bit of noise to it, and there's symbols that go up through the most recent data. And then after that we have trends, and you'll see that the trend is relatively straight, but it has a little bit of a damping effect. In other words, the farther out we go, the lesser the slope becomes. Now the next thing we're going to do is to see how the data has changed from our last trend, which was using data through July 2018. So if you remember on the Control tab, if you go back to the Control tab, we have the first button that we pushed was button 0, Save Results for Reference. So what this did is it saved a few of the key results from our previous trends, which only had data through July, and now we have data through September. So what we'd like to do is see how things have changed. So if you go 3 tabs to the right to the quarter summary tab, and then you go to step 9, there's a tan box toward the top and it says last update, and that's today's date and time. And so what we're going to do is scroll down to, say, Q1 January 2019.
And we'll look at the total for product G. In step 7, if we look at the total for the product, we'll see $29,428,000. Now if we go to the right to step 9, for that same value in the green cell, we can see that it's $29,222,000. So it's gone down a bit. If we go to the very next tab to the right, called Month Summary, and we go to step 4, there's a similar tan box to the top of that, Last Update, and it has today's date and time. And so what we can do is we can compare the net revenue results from step 3 to those in step 4. So let's go down to December 2019, and we'll look at the second NDC, the 6.2 times 30. So before, in step 4, we had $11,667,000. And if we look in step 3, we now have $12,691,000. So in this case, unlike before, it's gone up. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you.